there, my friends. I hope you're having an amazing day. Listen, have you ever had something you were scared to do? Like maybe you're afraid to cook because the instructions were a little convoluted, or you thought it was a little more detailed than it was, and you're like, I can't do that. Yeah, well, that's one of the things that I've always thought about bagels. But I have decided I'm on a quest for adventures, and we are going to overcome our fears. So today, for Fresh Tip Tuesday, we're going to be making mini bagels. My friends, that's right. On today's Fresh Tip Tuesday, we are making fresh mini bagels, and then I'm going to show you a fun twist, so make sure you stay at the end. If we haven't met, my name is Corinne Brown. I am the Fresh Expert, and I am so excited that you're here with me. Please make sure that you've shared this on your page, subscribe to the channel, make sure you let everyone know that you're watching Fresh Tip Tuesday with the Fresh Expert. Wait, there it is. The Fresh Expert. Okay, so we are making mini bagels today. Now I'm telling you, this scared me. I've been wanting to make these for years and I haven't made them, so let's do it together. All right, so the first ingredient we're gonna need is all-purpose flour. You can use bread flour, but all-purpose flour works just fine. You're gonna want a total of 4.5 cups, but to start off, we're gonna need 2 cups. So we're gonna be using my stand mixer today with the dough hook attachment. As much as you can knead by hand, I'm like, if I've got it, let's use the things that simplify for us. So we're gonna start off inside of here, and we're gonna put 2 cups of that all-purpose flour. When measuring it out, I do keep mine in my Tupperware modular make containers. Use your flour or your measuring cups, and I just use a little knife and just push it right over, and then I just will push it back. Actually, I'm using a citrus peeler today, but you could use a flat knife. Never pack your flour down, okay? Make sure that you are keeping it, make that one a little bit bigger there. Yeah, never pack your flour down. Make sure that it kind of gets a little bit loose, airy. I mean, you could sift your flour. I'm not doing it today, so we're gonna see how it comes out. All right, so I got that pretty much on there. There's our 2 cups right there. Now with the 2 cups of flour, we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of sugar. You could also use honey instead of sugar. Okay, then you're gonna want 1 teaspoon of salt. Of course, I like my pink Himalayan salt because of the minerals and just the natural super properties that it has. And then we're gonna put 1 packet of yeast. Now we're going to set this so it stirs to combine. Now once we have it combined, we are going to add in 1.5 cups of warm water. And then mix it back up. Now for those of you that have speed control, I'm actually keeping it at about 2 to 3. I don't want it to overmix or go too fast. And then I'm going to use my silicone spatula to keep pushing it in from the side so it really incorporates well together. All right, so it's looking nicely combined. So now I can add another 1.5 cups of flour. We're gonna start off with 1 cup and then we'll add more from there. Okay, now I've added the 1.5 cups of flour. You can see that it's still really sticky, and it just depends on the day. So we're going to add another 1/4 cup of flour in here so that it kind of forms into a ball instead of being such a sticky mess. Now we've got this beautiful soft dough. So we're going to knead for just 1 more minute, and then we're going to cover and let rest. Okay. Now we've got a nice soft dough. So we're going to cover it up with plastic wrap. I also call plastic wrap sad wrap because it never really works the way you want to, which is why you should always put your food in Tupperware. Because then you're not sad about the fact it never cuts right or rips right or any of that stuff. I don't care. But for this one, we're going to cover it with sad wrap for 10 minutes. And then we're going to come back and we're going to form our little bagels. Now, while this is resting for 10 minutes, we want to turn the broiler on the oven because we're going to broil these as well. I know, fun stuff. Okay, so now that our dough has rested for 10 minutes and our broiler has heated up, it's time for us to divide the dough. So we're going to take it first and divide it in half. And then we're going to take that ball and we're going to divide it into 12 pieces. I'm going to lightly flour my surface here. You can use a pastry sheet as well. I just really like using the countertop that we have there. Tip this one up. Still a little bit sticky there, so that's all right. We're just going to roll it through. And now let's take this one. And we're going to do it into 12 pieces for a total of 24. Got the same, right? Okay, so once we get all our little balls, then you're going to take your thumb and you're going to push it right through, or your finger. Do make sure your fingers are floured. That way it doesn't stick to you when it goes in. And we're just going to make simple little donuts like that. Hopefully this does good. Listen, if you've got a technique that works better, be sure to let me know. Like, this is my first time ever making mini bagels, or bagels for that matter. I've done donuts before, but it's always nice to know, like, do you have a technique that works better for you? Now I am going to be putting this straight onto our silicone Wonder Mat that is on a pan. The instructions I have do say to put them on a greased pan, but since I use silicone Wonder Mats for everything, I want to see how Tupperware does. Like, do we have to add that extra or not? So I'm going to finish rolling all these out. All right, I got 12 of them done. Now we got to do 12 more. Well, there's 20 of them ready to go. Now we need to cover it and let it rest for 10 minutes. Okay, now that our bagels have rested for 10 minutes, we're gonna put them in the broiler for just a few minutes to lightly brown each side. So we're gonna put it right in, let it brown for a minute or two, flip them over, let it brown for a minute or two, and then we are going to actually boil them in water. In fact, while they were resting, I went ahead and set up here a boil station. I've got my induction cooktop. I have my Tupperware Chef Series 2 cookware. This has Eterna coating, which isn't gonna flake off, like the best cookware on the market, because it does work on induction cooktops as well. So while the bagels are broiling over there, we are gonna let this start to boil. Say that fast, broil and boil. Now in the water, you got 6 cups of water. We're gonna put the rest of the sugar in there as well, and we're gonna have this boiling all together. Now, unfortunately, I got a little distracted and I cooked that one side a little bit too much. You are not supposed to allow it to brown. Oops, it's okay. We're still gonna see how we're doing. So let's get to the next step. In our boiling water, we're gonna take our bagels and slide them in and boil them for 3 minutes. Now that's gonna be 3 minutes aside, so make sure you check your timer. Let's flip them over. One of my favorite tips is I love having chopsticks as a way to flip things in the water. Whether I'm doing stir fry or something fried, those little things are the best. Now, once they're done, we're gonna put them on a little drying rack right here so they can get the excess moisture off of them. I've reset my oven to 375 degrees. So once this rests for a few minutes and all the excess water drips off, we'll be able to finish them off and bake them to perfection. Don't forget to boil the rest of them. All right, now that they've drained for a second, we're gonna put them back on our baking sheet and we're gonna bake them at that 375 for 20 to 25 minutes. Make sure that the bagels are not sticking to each other. and that there's a little bit of space in between when you go to bake them. Like that. Okay, there, those bagels are looking amazing and they're almost done. Now, while they finish up, we're gonna prep stuff to make our bagels into a Halloween spooky treat. One of the things my kids always love when we have a Halloween party is little mummy bagels. Now, years ago, I cheated and just bought Bagel Bites and added some extra little string cheese on top of them to mummify them. Then I would actually go buy little mini bagels and assemble them. And today we've taken them full level when we made our own mini bagels. Okay, so let me show you the other toppings you're gonna need, and then we're gonna assemble these up, and they are gonna be spooky and dough-rific. Okay, so first, my daughter loves Guatemala olives, so we're gonna use these as the eyes. So go ahead and just pick out a couple of them. I'm telling you, little chopsticks are the best little thing. If you take away any fresh tips today, invest in some of these boogers. I do think I got these from IKEA. I got some really fancy ones from Pampered Chef, or you can just use regular chopsticks. Now I'm gonna take my little olives and I'm just gonna cut them up into little squares, so that way they're like little eyeballs for our mummies. And once we get those, we're gonna put them aside. We only need a few, so a little goes a long way. All right, now that we have the eyes set into the side, we need to get mummified. And what we need is just string cheese. So you can take a plain string cheese, whatever your favorite. I think the basic is best. And you're just gonna start pulling it apart. Grab a bowl. This is where the kids need to help out as you just string up your cheese for the mummific additive that we're gonna do. This is so cool. Your kids are gonna love it. It's a simple treat. And seriously, if you don't wanna make bagels, don't do it. Just buy the mini bagels. I like to say it's a little bit semi-homemade, but the most important ingredient you're always gonna be adding is love. And that is the great thing about cooking at home. So get with your kids, practice with them, and let them have some fun with it. Now, in addition to your cheese and your eyes, you could do pepperonis for the eyes if you want to do red eyes. That's absolutely fine too. You're going to need some pizza sauce. Now, again, you can make your own pizza sauce, buy your favorite marinara, or Don Pepito. This is one that actually my mom and my dad always did whenever we pizza at home. I can't remember if it started with my uncle or not, but this is the one we typically grab when we make homemade pizzas. So that's what I'm going to be using today. Okay, let's get it all together. Do you see my beautiful little bagel? Oh, I'm so excited about this. Okay, take your bagels, cut them in half. This one's still hot because it literally came out. You might want to cook these the day beforehand. Ah, look at that. Yum! Okay, now, let's take a little bit of actually take them apart. There you go. A little bit of a tomato sauce, little tomato. Smear the tomato. Smear the tomato. Okay, let's put our little eyes right there. Little eye. Little eye. Little eye. Little eye. And then we're going to put our cheese. And you're just going to take your cheese and just crisscross it like a mummy. I do like to rip my ends off so it's not too far over the sides. Although it's okay if it's a mess, because it's a mummy mess, right? That is so fun. Do y'all see how fun that is? Just wait till they cook. So fun! Now, since your bagels are already cooked, you're really just kind of reheating everything all together. So I'm gonna cook these at 375 for about 5 to 10 minutes, just until that cheese gets perfectly golden across the top. In fact, since my bagels are actually still warm, I might actually up mine to 400 degrees, but for you at home, if your bagels are cold or ones that you just bought from the store out of the bag, they're gonna need to warm up internally as well. So I would definitely say 375 for closer to 10 minutes. But if they're pre-cooked or you just cooked them like I did, I would say closer to around 400 for around 5 at a max 10. All right, my friends, they are done. Can you see how adorable these are? I'm just gonna show you like this. Like, I am so excited about these, but I hope you've enjoyed making mini bagels with me today. I mean, look at these. Aren't these just so cool? I feel awfully proud of myself, and I'm not going to let fear get in the way of me trying new things in the kitchen anymore, and I hope you don't either. So thank you for joining me for today's Fresh Tip Tuesday. If you love this episode, make sure that you subscribe and share it with a friend. And let's have some mummy-rific, dough-full treats this season. Oh, oh, so good. I know. I don't think I want to share these. Wow.